By the time we reached the capital with the second harvest, autumn had already settled into the edges of the world. The air was cooler than on Blood Island, thinner somehow, the sky a harder blue. Even before the gates came into view, I could feel the change. The roads smoothed, the inns grew larger. The people we passed carried themselves differently, as though disorder had been left somewhere far behind them. I sat across from Gyeon in the carriage and tried not to keep looking out the window. "I can hear you thinking," he said without turning. I glanced at him. "You can't. You're measuring everything," he replied calmly. I looked down at my hands. "It feels sharper here," I said, "like everything has been trimmed into place." "That is one way to survive," he said. The gates opened. The city stretched wide in pale stone and lacquered wood, roofs layered close together, banners shifting in red and gold above the streets. Bridges arched over narrow canals. Every detail seemed deliberate. I felt out of place just sitting there. On the morning we arrived, he spoke again. "In the capital," he said, looking at me now, "you will not wander without permission. You will not answer questions meant for me, and you will not offer information freely." I nodded. "Yes, my lord." He watched me for a moment as if weighing something. "You are not on Blood Island," he said. "Do not expect people here to say what they mean." "That's comforting," I muttered. "It wasn't meant to be." His mansion stood in a quieter part of the city, where the houses were older and the gates taller. It did not shine like the others. That was what made it stand out. Dark stone, clean lines, nothing wasted. Servants waited in the courtyard, their bows precise, their expressions unreadable. But when their eyes found me, something shifted. They did not question it. They simply noticed. Inside, the house felt different from the island. Not still, not watchful, closed. Corridors stretched in polished wood and painted screens. Incense lingered faintly in the air. Voices dropped the moment he entered a room. I was not taken to the servant quarters. I was shown into a room in the master wing. I stopped in the doorway. The bed was too soft. The furniture too fine. The clothing already laid out inside the chest, too carefully chosen. And the wall, too close. His room was just beyond it. I turned to the maid. "There's been a mistake." She folded her hands. "No mistake, my lady. I am not a lady." "No," she said evenly, "but this room has been prepared for you." I stepped closer to the wall, then stopped. "This is connected to his." "Yes." "Why?" She didn't hesitate. "Because Lord Gyeon ordered it." That should have ended the question. It didn't. The gossip reached me before the day ended. Not openly, never directly, but doors don't always close, and voices carry. The island girl, the mortal, no one said anything improper. They didn't need to. They didn't know what I was to him, so they filled in the space themselves. The next morning, Lady Sion arrived. "My lord has ordered your wardrobe changed," she said, her eyes moving over me. I looked down at my robe. "Is something wrong with it?" "There is nothing wrong," she said smoothly. "It is simply not suitable." By midday, I understood. The clothing was finer than anything I had worn, but restrained. Clean lines, quiet colors, meant to be seen, but not mistaken. She adjusted the outer layer at my shoulders. "You will wear your hair simply," she said, "not like a maid, not like a noblewoman." "Somewhere in between?" I asked. "Yes," I let out a breath. "Is there a rule for everything here?" "There is a rule for everything that matters." She opened a smaller box. Inside lay a pendant and a ring. I stared. "This isn't mine." "It is." I touched the ring lightly. "I thought only senior members of the household received these." "They do," she said. "Black jade marks rank. This marks something else." "To what?" I asked. She met my gaze. That evening, he came to my door without warning. I stood too quickly, nearly knocking over the tea. "You haven't eaten," he said. I wasn't hungry. That wasn't a suggestion. I lowered my eyes. "No, my lord." His gaze shifted to the ring. "Do they fit?" "Yes," I said. "But I don't understand why I have them." He stepped inside and closed the door. "You were stared at enough before," he said. "And this will help?" I asked. "It will confuse them." I let out a quiet breath. "They're already talking." "They would talk if I brought home a wounded hawk," he said. "Let them guess." I hesitated. What am I meant to be here? His stillness shifted slightly. Someone under my protection. I looked at the ring again. That sounds dangerous. It is. The first dinner of the season was not held in his house. I only learned that when another carriage was prepared. "Where are we going?" I asked. "To Lord Mian's residence," Lady Cian said. "You will not speak unless addressed. You will stay at his side. You will not stare." "I won't," I said. She studied me. "And you will not look impressed." I frowned. "Is that so obvious?" "You're from the country," she said. "So am I. There is no shame in being impressed, only in showing it." That advice didn't last long. The residence rose in white stone and lantern light, too polished to feel real. Music drifted through the air. Guests stepped from carriages in layered silk that caught every color of autumn. For a moment, I forgot what I was doing. "Breathe," he said quietly. I did. Inside, everything gleamed. Too perfect. Too deliberate. Every glance measured. Every smile chosen. Gyeon moved through it without hesitation. I followed, trying not to take in too much at once. And then, I stepped wrong. My foot caught in the edge of his robe. Everything stopped. He turned his head slowly and looked at me. "Mortal fool," he said. The words were quiet. The laughter wasn't. Heat rushed up my face. I stepped back quickly. "I beg your pardon, my lord." "Watch your step," he said. "Yes, my lord." The moment passed, but not really. They had seen. Later, someone caught my elbow. "Careful," he said. I turned. His expression was calm, observant. "I'm starting to think that's the only word anyone uses with me here," I said. His mouth curved slightly. "Then I'll do better. Duri. Ara." His gaze flicked to my ring, then back to me. "So," he said softly, "you're real." A servant came for me not long after. He was waiting. "You should have watched where you were going," he said. "I know. And yet." "No," I said. He turned to face me. "Do you know why I said it that way?" I hesitated. "Because I embarrassed you." "No." I looked up. "If I had corrected you gently," he said, "they would have noticed." "So you humiliated me instead." "To protect position," he said. Then quieter. "And perhaps more than that." He set something on the table. "Candied chestnuts." "Sit." I did. "You didn't eat," he added. "You noticed." "I notice more than you think." I picked one up and took a bite. Sweet. Too gentle for the night. "I'm tired of this already," he said, looking toward the window. "Then why come?" He was quiet for a moment. "Because my sister is dead," he said, "and I am still bound to what remains of her." I didn't interrupt. "They carry her blood," he continued, "so I protect them." "They respect you," I said. He let out a quiet breath. "They respect what happens if they don't." I studied him. "I don't understand you." "That is for the best." I hesitated. "Am I supposed to fear you in public and thank you in private?" He looked at me steadily. "You are meant to survive this place," he said, "without learning the wrong lessons." "And those are?" "That kindness always means safety. That cruelty always means hatred. That what is said in public matters more than what is done in private." At the door I paused. "When you called me a mortal fool," I said. They laughed. "I know. That was the point." "Yes." I looked back at him. And I understood. In public, he would cut me down before anyone else could. In private, he would notice when I hadn't eaten. And I, despite everything, had begun to care enough that it hurt. If loneliness had a shape, I think it would look like the capital. It wasn't empty. It was full. Voices, silk, perfume, music drifting from one room to another, without ever settling. Servants moved along the walls in quiet lines. Nobles gathered in small circles, their laughter rising and falling at the right moments, never quite reaching their eyes. Everything had a place. Everything had a purpose. And still, I had never felt more alone. I knew what I was here. A mortal in a house that measured time in centuries. A servant allowed to stand where others could not. I had understood that before I ever stepped into the capital. Knowing it didn't make it easier. By the fourth evening, I had learned how to disappear properly. I kept my hands still, even when my fingers ached to move. I lowered my gaze just enough to avoid attention, but not so much that I looked afraid. When Gyeon moved, I followed. When he stopped, I did the same. I didn't speak. I didn't exist. And the court, in return, stopped noticing me at all. Only Duri didn't. He never approached openly, never lingered long enough to draw attention. But he had a way of appearing beside me, as though he had always been there. "Lord Gyeon keeps unusual company," he said one afternoon as we walked through a shaded corridor. I didn't turn fully toward him. "Is that meant to be an insult?" I asked quietly. "That depends," he said, clasping his hands behind his back. Are you asking for yourself or for him? I suspect you mean both. Then perhaps it's only half an insult. There was an ease to him that didn't belong in the capital. His shoulders stayed relaxed, his steps unhurried, but his eyes, they missed very little. You watch him often, I said before I could stop myself. He turned his head slightly. Do I? Yes. And does that trouble you? It was an observation. Observations tend to trouble people more than accusations, he said, almost lightly. I said nothing after that. But I didn't forget the way he watched Gyeon, not with resentment, with intent. The days moved in a rhythm I never quite settled into. Mornings were quieter. By midday, the house filled with movement. Messages, visitors, sealed trays, quiet urgency. By evening, there was always another gathering, another hall filled with people who spoke carefully and listened even more so. I learned how to stand in a crowded room and leave no trace of myself behind. After a while, that absence began to ache. Dury noticed. You've taken to silence well, he said one evening as we walked beneath a row of lanterns, their light shifting across the stone. Most people here are loud voices, I said. That's not the same thing. I glanced at him. No? No, he said, his gaze drifting past me toward the front court, where Gyeon stood speaking with a steward. The loudest voices here are usually the least free. Dury noticed. He carries it well, he said quietly. Carries what? The weight of being necessary. I frowned slightly. You speak about him like he's a monument. Dury's expression shifted, brief, unreadable. No, he said. Monuments decay. He does not. Something about that unsettled me. Gyeon noticed. Of course he did. It was late when he finally spoke of it. You've grown familiar with Dury, he said from the doorway. I turned, my fingers still in my hair. He's been kind. That is not the same thing. I held his gaze. Maybe not. He is not a man whose kindness should be trusted. Something in his tone pressed at my temper. You say that like I'm a fool. I say it because you're in a place where kindness is rarely given without purpose. And he's no different? No. The answer came too quickly. I drew in a breath. He's shown me more courtesy than most. That should concern you. Why? I asked, taking a small step forward. Because he's false? Or because he speaks to me at all? The moment the words left me, the air changed. You will keep your distance from him, Gyeon said. I don't remember agreeing to that. You rarely agree when it would be useful. That stung. He hasn't done anything to me. Not yet. And you have? I asked before I could stop myself. You dismiss me in public like I'm nothing, then warn me about someone who at least treats me like I exist. Silence fell, heavy. You think I've wronged you, he said. I looked away. Haven't you? This is not Blood Island. No, I said quietly. It isn't. And stop expecting it to be. That was my mistake. The space between us tightened. Then he stepped aside. Go to bed, Ara. I bowed because I didn't trust myself to answer. I didn't sleep. The next ball was worse. The heiress approached him with a smile that knew exactly what it was doing. Lord Gyeon, she said brightly, I hoped you would come. You hoped boldly, he replied. She laughed like she'd been rewarded. And your attendant? She added, glancing at me without really seeing me. How entertaining. She stands where I tell her, he said. Of course, she replied. She stayed. That was the problem. One remark could be ignored, two could be endured. But she lingered. Closer, more familiar, her voice soft and eager in a way that felt practiced. I stood through all of it, invisible. Then she looked at me again, her smile sharpening just slightly. You're very quiet, she said. How useful. Something in me snapped. Not loudly, not visibly, but enough. I lifted my hand slowly, tucking a loose strand of hair behind my ear. Just enough movement. Just enough angle. The ring caught the light. I lowered my hand again. I didn't look at her. I didn't need to. The shift came anyway. Her gaze dropped, brief, sharp, to the ring, then the pendant. When she looked back at me, something colder had settled behind her smile. She continued speaking, but now there was intent behind it. And Gyeon said nothing. That hurt more than her words. Finally he spoke. Go away. For a second, I wasn't sure who he meant. Then, Ara? Heat flooded my face. Yes, my lord. I bowed and left. The rain began before we reached the mansion. By the time I reached my room, it had turned into a storm. I shut the connecting door harder than I meant to. One shoe slipped from my hand and hit the floor. The second followed. I didn't bother changing properly. I pulled the pins from my hair and let them fall where they landed. My outer robe hung half open as I dropped onto the chaise. I was tired. Of everything. Of being dismissed, then quietly cared for. Of trying to understand something that refused to be clear. A storm filled the room. At some point, exhaustion took me. Thunder woke me. Sharp, immediate. I sat up before I was fully awake, and saw him. Gyeon stood over me, one hand braced against the back of the chaise, his face half-shadowed. "My lord?" My voice came out rough. "What are you doing in my room?" He straightened slowly, "Making sure you were still alive after tonight." "Alive?" I repeated. "You seemed determined otherwise." "I left a ballroom," I said, pulling the blanket around me. "Not a battlefield." "That depends on the ballroom." I blinked at him. Then, despite everything, a small sound escaped me. "If you came here to insult me, you could have waited until morning." I was already awake. "That's not my fault." "No," he said, "but you made it my concern." His gaze shifted toward the door. Only then did I notice my shoe. In his hand, heat crept up my neck. "I was tired," I said, "so I gathered." And irritated. That was obvious. Lightning flashed. I hesitated. Am I going to die? His brow lifted slightly. "That's abrupt." "You're standing over me in the dark during a storm," I said, tightening the blanket. "After a night like that?" "And?" I thought. I swallowed. "Maybe you came to feed on me." Silence. Then, the faintest curve of his mouth. "If I intended that," he said, "you wouldn't have woken first." "That's not comforting." "It wasn't meant to be." He crossed the room and placed my shoe neatly beside the other. "Don't throw things again," he said. "I didn't throw them at you." "No," he said. "You rarely aim well when you're angry." I looked at him, he looked back. Something shifted. "Why did you really come?" I asked. He didn't answer immediately. "The capital breaks things," he said at last. I looked down. "I'm not that fragile." "No," he said, "but you're not untouched either." "Neither are you," I thought. He moved toward the door. "Next time," he said, "use words." Then he left. The next morning, everything felt worse, not because of what happened, because I didn't know what it meant. Dury found me in the outer gallery. "You look tired," he said. "I didn't sleep." "The capital isn't kind to sleep. It isn't kind to anything. And yet you're still here. I have nowhere else to be. That's not the same as nowhere else to go." I studied him. "You speak like you'd take me somewhere else." "Not somewhere else," he said softly. "Somewhere I could keep you safer." Not quite a joke. I held his gaze. "You speak boldly, only when no one is listening." His eyes shifted briefly past me. "He keeps you close," Dury said, "but leaves you unclaimed." The word unsettled me. "I'm not anything to him," I said, "just a debt repaid." Dury was quiet. "That," he said softly, "may be the problem." 2 nights later, everything broke. "Give her to me," Dury said. The room stilled. Gyeon didn't react. "Find your own attendants." "So you object?" "I object to foolishness, and yet you keep her." Silence tightened. "You can always find another mortal," Dury continued. "Why keep this one?" A pause. "Unless you've grown fond of your pet." My hands tightened. Gyeon's voice dropped. "Be careful." Dury inclined his head. "Forgive me," and walked away. Outside, the air was cold. "You shouldn't speak to him anymore," Gyeon said. "Is that why you brought me out here?" "He's dangerous. He's kind." "Kind?" he repeated. "He sees me," I said. Something flickered in his expression. "He sees an opening. At least he doesn't act like I'm nothing." Silence. Then he stepped closer. "You don't know what you're saying." "Then tell me." His hand came up suddenly, cool fingers catching my jaw, tilting my face up. He hesitated, then kissed me. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't careful. It stole the air from my lungs and replaced it with something sharp and unsteady. I didn't realize I had grabbed his robe until my fingers tightened against it. He didn't pull away. If anything, he pulled me closer. There was restraint in him. Not absence. Control. When he broke away, it was abrupt. "Go home," he said. I stared at him. "To the residence." I turned, because I didn't know what else to do. The carriage was wrong. I knew it too late. "This isn't the right way," I said. No answer. I pulled the curtain aside. Wrong driver. The door flew open. A hand grabbed me and dragged me into the dark. The ground hit hard. The first thing I noticed was the smell. Damp stone. Iron. Something faintly sweet beneath it, like crushed petals left too long in shadow. It clung to the air and settled at the back of my throat. For a moment, I didn't open my eyes. I lay still, trying to hold on to the last fragile sense that I might still be somewhere familiar. I wasn't. The cold beneath me made sure of that. It seeped through my clothes and into my bones, steady and unforgiving. Then the pain followed, a dull ache along my arms and shoulders, a throb at the back of my head. I drew in a breath and winced as memory came back in broken pieces. The carriage, the wrong turn, the door opening, a hand at my wrist, darkness. I opened my eyes, stone above me, rough, uneven. A lantern hung crookedly from an iron hook, its light too weak to reach the corners of the room. Shadows gathered thick along the walls. No windows, no warmth, no way out. I pushed myself upright slowly. The room tilted, then steadied. My hands were bound, not tight enough to cut, but tight enough to hold. I tested the cords once, then stopped. There was no point. Awake already. The voice came from the shadows. I turned my head. "Duri," I said, forcing my voice steady. He stepped into the light. He looked exactly the same. That was what unsettled me. The same relaxed posture, the same calm expression, the same measured gaze. Only now, there was nothing behind it. "Good," he said lightly, clasping his hands behind his back. "That saves time." "You shouldn't have done this," I said. He tilted his head slightly. "Shouldn't have?" he repeated, almost amused. "And yet I did." His calmness scraped against my nerves. "Lord Gyeon will come," I said. A faint smile touched his mouth. "Yes," he said softly. "That is the point." The meaning settled in. This wasn't about me. Not really. "You never cared whether I lived or died," I said. "No," he replied, just like that. No hesitation. He began to pace, slow and deliberate, the lantern light catching and releasing him as he moved. "At first I thought you might be useful," he said, glancing at me. "You were unusual, a mortal who could stand beside him." I held his gaze. "That made you interesting." "And now?" I asked. He stopped. "Now," he said quietly, "you're a flaw." I let out a slow breath. "You're wrong. I'm nothing to him." He smiled again, smaller this time. "Do you believe that?" "Yes." Too fast. His eyes lingered on me. "You stood beside him in court," he said. "He brings you where he brings no one. He speaks to you when no one else is listening." He stepped closer. "And tonight," he said, quieter now, "he sent you away alone." I looked away. "That doesn't mean—" "It means everything," he cut in sharply. "He chose you." "I'm a servant, and I'm not a fool." The ease was gone from his voice. "What he is," he continued, "is rare. Power that doesn't fade, blood that still matters." "I don't care," I said. "That," he said, "is your weakness." Silence settled. Cold. Heavy. "If I'm such a flaw," I said, "why not kill me?" He considered it. "I thought about it," he said. "It would be simple." His gaze returned to mine, but it wouldn't teach him anything. A chill moved through me. "What do you want?" "To see," he said softly, "if he comes." "You'd risk his wrath for that?" "I would welcome it." No arrogance, just certainty. "You admire him," I said. Duri let out a quiet laugh. "No." He stepped closer. "I understand him." And that was worse. Time passed. I couldn't tell how much. The lantern burned lower. The cold deepened. My hands ached where they were bound. Then, something shifted. The air changed. Not empty anymore. Occupied. Footsteps followed. Slow, measured. Duri stepped back into the light, satisfaction sharpening his expression. "There you are," he said. I followed his gaze. The shadows parted. Gyeon stepped forward. He wasn't the same as he had been in the capital. No polish, no distance, just stillness, sharp and absolute. He looked at me first. Relief hit me before I could stop it. He had come. "What do you want, Duri?" Gyeon asked. "You came," Duri said. "You knew I would." I suspected. Duri glanced at me. "She's still alive, for now." The air tightened. "You will release her," Gyeon said. "Perhaps," Duri replied. "Depends on what I learn." "And that is?" "How much she matters." Silence. "Then, she doesn't," Gyeon said. The words hit harder than I expected. I lowered my gaze. Of course. What else would he say? "If I kill her?" Duri asked. "Do as you like." My breath caught. Then Duri laughed. "Liar." He moved, the blade flashed, and Gyeon was already there. The impact cracked through the room as he caught Duri's wrist and forced it aside. The lantern swung violently, shadows breaking and reforming across the walls. They collided again. Fast. Too fast to follow cleanly. Steel flashed, stone cracked. Breath and force filled the space. Duri was skilled, precise, confident. But Gyeon was something else. No hesitation, no wasted movement. He didn't fight to survive. He fought like the ending had already been decided. It ended quickly. Gyeon's hand closed around Duri's throat and drove him into the wall hard enough to fracture stone. Dust fell between them. Duri was still smiling. "I wondered," he said, voice strained, "if you'd go this far." "You've seen enough," Gyeon replied. Duri murmured, his gaze flicked to me. I was right. Then, Gyeon snapped his neck. The sound was sharp, final. Silence followed. Only then did I realize I was shaking. Gyeon crossed the room immediately, dropping to one knee in front of me. "You're hurt," he said, already working at the ropes. "I'm fine," I said, though my voice trembled. The bindings fell away. I pulled my hands back, rubbing at my wrists. "You shouldn't have come," I said quietly. "I had no choice. There's always a choice. Not in this." Something in his voice pulled my attention back to him. "Why?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. He just looked at me. The silence stretched. "When I thought you were dead," he said at last, his voice low, "I nearly burned this city to the ground." I stared at him. It didn't sound like a threat. It sounded like truth. "I told myself it was inconvenience," he continued. "A disruption. A pause. I was wrong." I swallowed. "I'm mortal," I said. "That hasn't changed." "No. One day I'll die." "Yes. And you'll remain." His jaw tightened. "I know. I want to go home," I said. He nodded. We left before dawn. No servants. No explanations. Whatever happened in that room stayed there. The carriage was already waiting. He guided me inside, his hand at my back lingering for a moment, before he stepped in after me. We were moving before I settled. I sat across from him, my thumb brushing the marks left by the rope. He reached into his sleeve and pulled out a small bundle wrapped in paper. "For the journey," he said. I blinked, then took it. Inside, candied fruit. "Thank you," I said softly. He didn't answer, but he didn't look away. I tasted one. Sweet, grounding. Outside, the sky grew lighter. When Blood Island came into view, rising dark from the sea, something settled in me. I lifted my head. Gyeon was already watching me. I met his gaze and smiled. Whatever waited ahead, I knew I wouldn't walk away.